Wow. All right, so who are we here today with, and what is your name?
My name is Arben Komani, also known as Benny Buys Gold.
What do you do on a daily basis?
That's a good question. I buy and sell gold, man. I run multiple companies. Honestly, thank God, I own a wholesale distribution company with consumer electronics, as well as I buy and sell gold on the side. It was something I did on the side until it kind of blew up overnight and became a full-time job.
What got you started in the jewelry game?
All these guys on social media, man, starting all the way from the OG Tracks NYC down to Vucom and the Watch King, all these guys, they inspired me a lot, especially Vucom, you know, with the fast flips. He was selling watches online constantly. It was really cool. I started this business by doing that. I was buying and selling watches. I was spending between $12,000 to $15,000 to make $1,000, which was, it was cool, but you know, the margins were so small. So I decided to try getting into gold. I figured that was had a little bit of better profit margins, maybe without spending as much money. You know what I mean?
Where do you come from?
I'm Kosova. I was originally born in Kosova. I lived there till I was about 3 years old. We left in about 1999. We were refugees. We left because of the Kosovo-Serbia war, and we went to Switzerland for about a year. After we lived in Switzerland for about a year, we came to the U.S. right before 9/11, right before around that time.
What's a story from your childhood that shaped you, brother?
That shaped me?
That shaped you into who you are today?
Honestly, it's a story my father always told me. It's when we first got to the States, and it was just me, my dad, my mom, and my sister, and we drove around we really had nowhere to go, honestly. We lived with family, but we had nothing to sleep on, you know, so my father drove around for hours. I remember the story. I've heard it multiple times, you know. We drove around for hours and until we basically found a mattress on the side of the road, you know, and that mattress, that's the mattress that me, my dad, my sister, and I slept on for about 3 weeks until my dad was able to get some money together to be able to put us in our own apartment, to eventually get furniture and really put us in a position and create a foundation for all of us to grow, you know.
So would you say your father is your biggest influence in your life?
Absolutely. He's one of the most hardworking men I know. He's been, like I said, he built the foundation that I stand on today. I don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for him. He's a big influence. I have a lot of motivation because of my dad. He's 53 years old, 52 years old today, and he still works like he's 20. You know what I mean? My wife motivates me a lot. You know, there's never been a time in my life where I wanted to do something and she's told me not to do it, or she's always said, go for it, babe, do it, why not, what do you have to lose? Kids are always also a great motivator as well. They, I want to, not that I didn't have a great life growing up, but I want to give them a life that I never had.
If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what 3 words would you use for yourself?
Charismatic, I believe, hungry, and I don't know. Maybe I just got a soft heart, man. I believe I have a soft heart.
What do you feel like is your purpose as a jeweler, as a person here today? What do you feel is your purpose?
I think my purpose is to be a jeweler, man. I've always been fascinated by luxurious watches and jewelry and gold and, you know, the bling. The bling always fucking motivated me to get it myself. I've always been a window shopper growing up my whole life. You know what I mean? Like I said, I had a great life, but we never had enough money to be able to go out and buy gold and wear it in large amounts of it, hundreds of grams or et cetera. You know what I mean? So my end goal is to have things that I never was able to have in my childhood, or things that we weren't able to have access to. And not only for myself, but for my kids and for my father. I want to be able to spread all that love throughout my whole family. You know.
What's been pretty much your proudest moment since starting your whole jewelry business, huh?
I think the proudest moment was just, I remember when I first hit just 1 million views. I think that was the coolest part. I was sitting there with my dad and my son, and we were outside of my back porch, and you know, what's called, and I think my dad is my biggest, my biggest cheerleader. How do you say, my biggest
inspiration?
Just
motivator.
Yeah, my biggest motivator, you know what I mean, since I started it. We were sitting there refreshing the page constantly until the video hit 1 million views. And that same video today is at like 8 million views on Instagram, another 6 million on TikTok. You know what I mean? And now we're at 40 million views altogether over the last couple months. It's been insane. You know, so that's what motivated me, honestly.
If you had a 5-year plan, where do you see yourself now in the next 3 to 5 years after?
Oh, definitely owning a shop. You know what I mean? Having a storefront. I want to be the jeweler that everybody goes to because it's honest work. I don't want to. I never want to screw anybody over. I never want to steal from nobody. I want to make enough to make a living, to make a good living, and for everybody to walk out of my store happy. You know what I mean? I don't want people to wait years and years for their gold to come back to what it's actually worth. You know what I mean? I've had people constantly tell me, oh, bro, I paid this much for this chain, or I paid this much for this chain after I give them a price for it. And more than likely, it's because your jeweler charged you 2 or 3 times the actual price of gold. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just want honest work, and I want to I want to make an honest living, and I want people to see that that's what I'm doing.
If you could collaborate with anyone in the future with jewelry, who would that be and why?
I've thought about this in the past, and I've wanted to collaborate with all of them, honestly, but just someone that's genuine, man, someone that's actually doing good work and that people come back to for a reason. And you know what I mean? I think Benny the jeweler is a great jeweler out there. I think he's an honest guy. He does great deals. You know what I mean? He's very transparent. You know, he doesn't get offended by prices that you offer him. So Benny the jeweler is a great guy to look up to. If
you had one piece of favorite jewelry that you own or dream of owning, what is that piece of jewelry? Is it a watch? Is it a chain?
Yeah. So
give us a specific name of it or what it is and everything.
So my goal is to have an all gold Sky Dweller, a rose gold Sky Dweller with a blue face. Today I'm wearing it's a 2024 date just, you know what I mean, 2-tone with fluted bezel. My goal eventually is to have a rose gold Sky Dweller with a blue dial. That's the goal. It's like a $56,000 watch. Maybe I'll get there eventually. You know what I mean? I'm in no rush, but that's my gold watch. That's my gold jewelry piece to have. And if I do have that, I won't wear nothing else.
Well, hopefully we all get there, because I need one too.
God willing.
What is the best piece of advice you have ever received from anybody?
Honestly, just go for it, man. Don't be afraid. I've been wanting to do the social media stuff for over 10 years. I've been wanting to do it since I was 18 years old. I used to create Vines back in the day when Vine was big, and I just stopped doing it, and you know what I mean? It's just, I always was embarrassed, secondhand embarrassment. You don't want your family seeing your videos, or you don't, just go for it. It's not gonna cost you nothing. It's not gonna hurt nothing. If anything, it'll just take you to another level. You'll motivate yourself more. This content stuff is really cool. Don't be afraid, don't be shy, don't be discouraged. Just give it all you got, go for it, and when you do it, and you do see some success out of it, run with it. Don't stop running.
If you had 24 hours to do something without any limitations, what would that be?
If I had 24 hours to do something without limitations. If I only had 24 hours left?
Like just 24 hours to do anything in life that you can imagine, that you dream of. What is the one thing you've always wanted to do? What do you imagine doing right now?
Yeah, I'd spend my time with my family. I wouldn't know what to do with if I had. If the question is I had 24 hours left, I'd spend all that time with my family. Whatever time I got left, every waking minute.
That's actually a great answer. And to even like base off of that, say for instance your life is a movie.
Yeah.
What would the name of that movie be?
Lucky Betty. I've been lucky my whole life, man. It's a blessing. Thank God. I appreciate it. Thank God. I've been very, very blessed my whole life. I've had times where I thought I've lost that luck. You know what I mean? I've had times where I've thought I've been down. You know, just like everybody. Everybody feels down and out. Sometimes I felt like I lost that luck, but it comes within you. You know, it comes deep within you, and you pulling yourself out of that rut. So I think my movie would be called Lucky Betty, because I just had a ball of luck my whole life. I don't know what it is, man. Thank God, you know?
I love that, man. You seem to have good energy, which is great. What do you want people to remember you for?
Just being a genuine person.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? I'm honest. I have nothing to lie about. I just want everybody to know that what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? I'm not any different whether I'm on camera or off camera. This is this is what you're gonna get.
How do you hope to influence, say, somebody that wakes up one morning and wants to be just like you? What would you tell them to do to take in the first steps?
Go for it. What's called, for people, I get to ask this question a lot actually on a daily basis for people that are asking me like, hey bro, how do I get started, or how do I do this? Listen, I started on Facebook Marketplace, you know what I mean? And like I said, I was already running a business doing this. This was just a side business for me. And I was just going and buying, I started with rings and pendants, because you can get them for the gram and then you could sell them as a piece. So I started with rings and pendants, and I would buy them by the gram and I would sell them as a piece. And if it made me an extra $400 or $500 a month, or a couple $1,000s a month, I always thought of it as a positive. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. And then I got into flipping watches and buying Rolexes, which was always a big gamble, because God forbid you buy a fake watch. But start small, you know what I mean? Start small, but dream big. Don't set your expectations low because you have to start small. Don't think just because you are starting small, you can't reach that next level. You know what I mean? Always have that in the back of your mind that you're gonna get to where you want to be, but don't fucking put all your chips on one bet.
I like that. And what do you think makes you successful as a person?
I think I have a drive. I think I have a lot of drive, man. I've been very money motivated my whole life. Like I said, I've window shopped my whole life. You know, I've always seen these guys that had monies. I remember when I was young, I was like 7, 8 years old. I had 50 Cent's, 50 Cent's album, with big gold chains, the big rope chains, and the four finger rings. You know what I mean? That stuff motivated me, man. I wanted that stuff. I wanted to have what nobody else does. And I think everybody should think that way. I think you don't necessarily have to be money motivated, but you have to be free will motivated. You know what I mean? And to have free will, you have to have some type of financial security. And to create financial security, you have to work hard. And that comes with another question that people always ask me is, do you have to have a lot of money to get into this business? You don't have to have a lot of money to get into this business, but you do have to fucking save some money. If you can't start saving without spending, then you're more than likely not going to make it when you're in that business, because you do sit on a lot of gold sometimes where you're not necessarily selling it. And you got to be able to spend less than you can afford to spend. You don't want to spend all your money and then you're just sitting on a bunch of gold, and then you have to cash out on your gold so that you can spend more to buy more gold. You know what I mean?
That's a great valuable lesson. I think a lot of people will definitely take away from that for sure. Do you ever envision yourself, say, for instance, opening a jewelry business maybe in Kosova, where you're from?
That's interesting. Maybe not. I used to say when I was younger, I'm going to become the president of Kosova, which is a crazy thing to say.
That's great.
You know what I mean? But like I said, you got to dream big. I don't know if I'm going to open up a jewelry business in Kosova. I'd like to go every year. Hopefully when I'm hitting my 40s, I'm 10 years away now. Hopefully when I'm in my 40s, I'll have another home there, and I can go back and forth and live there for about 6 months, come back to the States and live for 6 months. But my end goal is to have a location here and to get as big as Trax and big as Watch King and Benny and all these guys. You know what I mean? That's the end motivation.
Now you even speaking about like the other community of jewelers as well. What's one change you'd like to see in the actual industry yourself? You know?
Honesty. You know what I mean? Listen, I go to the Diamond District a lot. There's a lot of sharks there. And when I tell you they're sharks, man. And it is what it is. And I don't blame them for being that way, because if they're not a shark, the person around them is a shark. You know what I mean? So you got to be really strong mindset, and you know what I mean? You got to be able to fib a little bit to get what you want. You know what I mean? Nobody actually tells you what they paid. That's how it goes in this business. But I'd like to let people honestly know what I paid and what I'm making. I'd like to change around the jewelry business for the good, so when people do buy gold, they do actually have an understanding of what they buy. That's why I sell my stuff by the gram. That's why I always tell you the millimeter, the length, the grams, the carat, how much it's bought for, how much it's sold for. Transparency is key, man. I feel like if it's not about creating one sale a day where you're getting a lot of money on it. I feel like it's by creating multiple sales a day where you're creating transparency and you're getting a little of each. You know what I mean? So then this way you can corner the market. You're getting honest business, and you're consistently getting paid.
What's one fear that you feel like you still have not conquered yet in your life? It's a tough one.
I've been fearless my whole life. Thank God, man. I mean, this was nerve-wracking for me, this whole interview. You know what I mean? What's called this? So I guess getting in front of a camera, doing social media, this was, like I said, this is crazy for me. I've reached over 120,000 followers in the last 2 months, and I feel like I'm making up for lost time. I feel like I should have did this 10 years ago. I feel like I should have millions of followers. It's one fear of mine was always putting myself out there and doing what I probably should have been doing 10 years ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? But thank God it's been a blessing, and I'm very, very, very proud of myself, and it's been very successful over the last 2 months, and I created a business overnight out of it. So now I fear nothing. You know what I mean? Now I'm not afraid of anything, man. I've conquered my last fear.
Is there ever a risk that you did take that maybe didn't pay off? You know, because there's a lot of people that think that they see you and they probably think you're successful every single time, and you've been successful at everything you've touched. Has there ever been anything that you did try that you maybe failed at?
That's not the case. I try to be a broker for trucking. So what's it called? Like I said, I owned a wholesale distribution company with consumer electronics. Then I went into work with my dad. You know what I mean? He owned a semi-truck company. I tried to start brokering loads for him, and that fucking made me lose my mind. I was never good with school. You know, I barely got out of high school. You know, and it's always been self-education my whole life. And I went into brokering, and I got a whole license for it and everything. It just didn't work out for me. And we still ended up growing the company from 2 to 7 semi-trucks in a year. You know what I mean? And and I didn't necessarily need to broker the loads in order to do that. It was just self-education, man. I go to YouTube University. If you don't know something, just YouTube it. You'll learn. Everything's posted nowadays.
And now, like you were saying to me before, ChatGPT as well?
Yeah, ChatGPT is my best friend. It's been my personal assistant for 2 years now.
Yeah, ChatGPT is great. And it's crazy that we actually have an Albanian who's the one that created it, which is even amazing.
How awesome is that?
If you could leave only one sentence behind for the world, what would it be?
Man, I'm gonna go with Nike on this and just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, man. Just do it. I've never been afraid. So one thing I've never been afraid of, and I've always heard it a lot. When I first started, I was 19 years old when I first started my first business, and it became very, very successful. You know, I had over. By the time I was 22 or 23, I had over 50 or 60 employees and over 30 vehicles. And my parents, not because they didn't want to see me succeed, but they were afraid of me failing. And they were like, don't do it. You never know. You could fail. But what if you win? What if you don't fail? You know what I mean? So I always say, just do it. Everybody I tell, hey, just do it. Just go for it. Try it. It's never going to hurt. It's never going to cost you. It might cost you a little bit of money, but at least you will never look back and say, oh, I could have did this, or I should have did this. I will never look back at anything in my life and say, I wish I did that. I did everything I wanted to do.
I'm pretty sure your parents would be proud today of who you've become and what you are. I mean, I know as Albanian parents, they always fear failure for us, which is pretty hard to deal with, because I've dealt with all the same things as well. But sometimes I think you just have to prove them wrong too, which is probably what you're doing every single day. And now they're your biggest fans, you know?
Well, thank you.
When you're gone, what story do you hope people tell about you?
That's a good question. I don't know, man. I guess like I said earlier, I guess I wish they'd tell a story about an honest jeweler, about getting their gold from somebody that was genuine and wanted them to actually get a good price, you know what I mean? And not look back and say, fuck, man, I paid this much for this. You know what I mean? I want you to be able to buy your jewelry a year down the line. If you decide to sell it, you're going to get your money back. You know what I mean? I don't want you sitting on gold and regrets, you know, because a lot of people do. Like I get tons. I get a couple hundred messages a day where people are messaging me and, hey, Benny, how much would you buy this for? And I give them a price, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I paid double that. Well, I know your jeweler overcharged you a little bit, man. So I just wish there's more honesty and transparency in this business. And hopefully one day I'm the guy that creates that.
What is the craziest deal that you've ever done with jewelry?
So I think one of my last deals, the video I just most recently posted, I spent about 27 grand on a big lump sum of jewelry, you know what I mean? And I think that was one of the craziest ones. I've had some guys try to sell me fake chains. That happens all the time, you know what I mean? I guess especially when I was first starting out, I had a low follower count. Maybe guys thought they can get over on me, or I wouldn't know, you know what I mean? That was one of the craziest deals I've done over the last one, 27 grand.
And as somebody who doesn't know about jewelry, like for instance me, how do you spot fake jewelry? Because a lot of it looks really real. You see gold plated, you see so many different things. How do you spot what's real or fake?
So it's not easy, dude. I just had a chain come to me. I just bought a Cuban. It was a 10 carat Cuban. I bought it and I was just about to go sell it to a customer. And before I went to go sell it to a customer, I obviously clean it and quality check it to make sure everything is good. And I'm looking in between the links and I see this tiny little chip, and gold doesn't have chips. You know what I mean? Your gold chain should not be chipping. So I ended up checking it a little further and going deeper into investigation on it. And I started checking it. I did a scratch test a few times, and I got to the point where I just dumped acid right onto the fucking chain because it was just not looking right. And it started boiling green. I posted that video as well. I sent it back to the guy that sold it to me. He sent it back to the guy that sold it to him. He sent it back to the guy that sold it to him. He sent it. So it basically went through about 4 or 5 jewelers' hands before it got to my hands. And I was the one that was able to spot it. So it's not easy to spot fake chains. It really isn't. You always, if you're buying something off the street, meet the people at a jewelry shop and ask the jewelry shop to check it for you. They'll do it for free. The acid test, the scratch test is one of the best ways. You got to try to get through the first layer of gold plating. If there is gold plating, some of them are gold filled. So they even pass XRF machines. There's been some, I've gotten advice from thousands of people up until now, and it's not easy. It's something that you have to have an eye for. It's something that you have to be able to see nowadays. You know what I mean? I always check in between the links. It's definitely not easy. I don't recommend just going out on the street and buying gold unless you have some experience. The best way is, like I said, to start small and start with rings and pendants. So if you do make a mistake, you're not taking a big loss on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a good piece of advice. And how do you negotiate with someone? Like if they're our firm on something like, hey, I want this for this much, and they're like $20-$30 away.
That happened to me recently. That was my most viral. No, yeah, it was the most viral video. It has like 8 million views on Instagram. What's called? The guy said no. We disagreed for about $50, and I said no, and he drove away. And next thing you know, I see him turning around inside the parking lot. So I started recording right away again because I knew what he was coming back for. It's a sales tactic. I've been doing sales all my life, so it's a fear of loss. You know what I mean? You say no, you kind of walk away and see if somebody yells at you. It's like when you're overseas and you're negotiating, you're haggling on something, you kind of start saying no and you walk out the door and they throw out one last price at you. You know what I mean? So if it is a $50-$40 loss, you know what I mean? $50 is better in your pocket than it is in theirs. So if you're willing to lose a deal over it, it's up to you. If you really want something, pay up the money. But yeah, there's a lot of different tactics to sales that you can use to make sure you secure the deal.
And what would you say is your best sales pitch or best sales tactic? I mean, we can't probably give up too much game here, but what would you say works best for you?
So honestly, I just, my biggest thing is when I started, man, I used to send out hundreds of messages a day on Facebook Marketplace. Whether it was an hour away, an hour and a half away, whatever price anybody was asking for, I sent them my price, and I probably sent out 100, 200 messages a day. And for anybody that's asking me, how do I get into this business? How do I start? That's how you start, man. You get into it by pitching so many people. It's a numbers game. You know what I mean? So you ask as many people as you can. You talk to as many people as you can. I sent out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages daily until one person would say yes. And as soon as I got that bite, I would drive out. I would waste no time. I'd show up with cash. You know what I mean? You have to be a man of your word. When you say you want something, you go and get it. That's it.
And Arben, if you could point us to at least your social media pages, where can we all follow your work? Where can we follow your expertise? Do you have social medias like Instagram, TikTok? What are your Instagram pages? What are all your social media pages?
So I'm Benny Buys Gold, BENNY BUYS GOLD, Benny Buys Gold on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I am on YouTube a little bit. I just started posting my videos. I'm gonna get better at it. But yeah, you can find me on there. If you need quotes on any jewelry, just message me, DM me the total carats, the weight, and a picture of the gold, and that's it, man. I'll send you a price right away.
Perfect. Free. Perfect. And I do want to say one last thing, Arben. Thank you for being on the interview here. You're my very first interview.
Having me, bro.
I appreciate you. Everything you do is really great. That's why I wanted to interview you. I think you're very cool. You got a cool personality, a cool page. Yeah. I don't normally see pages like yours where people are flipping jewelry and they're as cool as you. You know, I think I seen an episode too where you made a mistake on some sort of jewelry piece, and you went back to the client and said, "I'm really apologize," and bless them. You know what I mean?
I made a big mistake. Yeah, man.
You gotta things happen. Things happen, but I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you are an honest person, because when people see the vulnerable side of this, they understand and they realize that you are a good person you know, inside and out. I do want to say thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody go follow him at all his social media pages. And Arben, I appreciate you for coming on the interview.
Much, brother. I really appreciate you.
There we go, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Perfect.